Hello and thank you for joining us for Game 4. I am Julian Pastry Time Card, joined by the one and only Alberto Crumbs Rangufa, and we're here to bring you TSM Academy versus Dignitas Academy.
It's been a day of very one-sided games, Pace.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what this one's going to deliver, but we have record-breaking one-sided games, so I'm all for it if it's going to be a stomp.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting one because TSM, they are still atop the standings, but they didn't really look like our number one team last week. But I guess with the resets and how fast the games have been today, maybe they'll have things different for this week.
Yeah, that loss to FlyQuest, I think, really hurt because they were just flying high when they were facing up against C9, took the loss here, but then up against, actually, this was the CLG game where Dignitas did struggle against CLG's creative composition of Vi with Fragus. They thought, okay, well, we have an Olaf certainly to deal with it, but they were experimenting so much. This was such a different look for this team because normally Froggen doesn't play Lucian, and normally their bot lane doesn't play the Wukong and Senna, so just a bit of an off week for them to experiment. And on the flip side, well, this was when the set was just dying, getting caught at level 1. So I think that for TSM versus Dig is the team that is probably going to be in the back foot here. We don't really know what's going on with their roster since LCS subbed in Viper after he was playing in the Academy, then Lorela, then Viper. We were like, who are you playing? What's going on? And what's Froggen trying to do? Because he farmed a lot on Lucian, but he didn't really pop off like what you would see if rookies playing Lucian, or a Lucian that needs to just obliterate the Galleon and then just crush the team fights.
Yeah, it did feel like the two sides of Dig's comps are a little bit disconnected, I guess I'll call it. Like, very aggressive on the top side and then Senna Wukong in the bottom lane. Like, these are all pieces that we know can be good, but not necessarily all good together as we have a look at some of their comps here. Again, I like what Dig brought to the table. I just feel like Froggen and Acadian and Viper especially all want to play one way, and then like they're kind of leaving, the original Academy bot lane with these new LCS players to kind of fend for themselves and play weak sides. So I think if nothing else, just something where Dig can play together is what we want to see.
Yes, that's what we want to see. We want to see teamwork in the team game out of them, and it starts with the draft. It starts with a draft that actually is cohesive and allows these pieces to flow, and starting with just giving yourself stronger lanes, because it is really tough to pull off Senna Wukong in the first place. This isn't even the buffed Wukong. It's not like you're even playing him at his peak. He's starting to get nerfs rolling through, so they're picking him up when all the other teams have played him and kind of stored it away. So I want to see them return to the sauce, which is just AD, standard support, and go from there.
I mean, I think also you can draft something with it, right? Like, if we talk about Froggen, who's a very interesting player, have a look at kind of how he operates in wins and losses. His Galio looked really good, right? And he could be proactive with the team and use that ulti and roam around. And his Lucian, like, yes, he lost, but these numbers are very silly, Crumbs. Like, Froggen somehow looked even better in losses, but it just clearly wasn't providing the same impact to the overall team. And I think, again, that's the theme for Dig this week. It's like, I don't care what you play, just make sure you're all cohesive and on the same page. If you're drafting early game, everyone go early game. If you want to draft scaling team fight, all draft scaling team fight. Whatever it is, just make sure everyone is doing it together.
What really stood out to me in that one is that Froggen had no deaths in the wins and 10 or 11 in the losses. So really showing that I think when they start to lose, it just starts to lose everywhere. Everyone starts dying because Froggen's not typically the one that you see as a player that has a high death count. In fact, he's the kind of player that you would expect even in the loss to have less deaths. So I think that your point about a cohesive draft is actually what most teams prioritize over individual lanes. Like, it's almost better to say, just forget about the laning phase, make sure that the 5-man unit all points in the same direction. Like you're saying, whether it's scaling, whether it's draft, engage, peel, poke, whatever, they all have to be aligned in their same goal.
Well, talked a lot about CLG Academy, Crumbs, and how it just seems like when they play, the way they want to play and all play together, they do look very good. So we'll see how Dig can look in a fresh week here up against TSM Academy. Still the number one team, Crumbs, but have teams within striking distance of them. Now phase on bans are done. Ash Wukong, LeBlanc, Twisted Fate, Karma, Callisto, all of his first 6. And there is first pick Graves, which shouldn't surprise anyone. The champion's very good.
It's a good change of pace for Winston, who had some rough games on the Trundle. Will be with a lot more agency on this pick. We don't know if he'll take Ignite or Flash, but I want to talk about the second phase ban there. Wukong? I would have loved to give that away. to Asta and JJ. I mean, please take away the Wukong. Please try to scale. We can crush you on the other side of the map. Instead, they're going to be up against Bard and Ezreal, which I love to see these combinations be picked up because the best LPL team played it, I believe it was yesterday. Just, hey, we play Bard Ezreal, and then people who go, oh, what are the best teams in the strongest region doing right now? Bard Ezreal, let's play it ourselves. And Bard is just a god mode support.
Yeah, I'm definitely, like, getting to the point. I mean, like, Fellas in this game too now, but, like, definitely Ezreal's stock has risen a lot since the Varus nerfs, and maybe I've just been around too long, Crumbs. I'm starting to see a little too much Ezreal for my personal taste, but very exciting when piloted well. Bard's an awesome support, so very happy he's back in the meta. And instead of picking potentially Thresh there for Biofrost, TSM are actually going to go for the Zoe, Crumbs, which is slowly but surely making its way back in, at least in Academy. I feel like we ask this question every split. Where is the Zoe? When it just seems like such a good pick, and somehow she's finally made her way back in. There's Frog and Scally we asked for.
I'd love to see more Zoe and less Ezra, because you're totally right. The Ezreal stock is risen and it is ballooning. We're tired of it. It's too much. He's a self-proclaimed treasure hunter. You've been around too long, my friend. There's no more treasures to be plundering. Better go back to the ban phase or something else. The nerf board preferably, but seeing Zoe be picked up I think is much more exciting of a champion than Ezreal is in the first place, because she doesn't get to build tank and just survive everything, has a lot of skill shots, and Evolved has solo carried games on this pick. He's going to be on what I think is his strongest champion right now, and Froggen on one that you coined as the one that works really well in tandem with Acadian. It's synergistic with the Bard as well. You can have somebody just get Tempered Fate, and then Galio just gets a taunt you or ult on top of it. So there's a lot of ways to deal with Winston. Lost when he has on the Aphelios here, but it will depend on the top lane composition addition. And yeah, Camille and Malphite making sure that Aphelios has an easier time getting that lane.
Those are some anti-Aphelios champions if I've ever seen them. Malphite, of course, especially good when Graves has already been picked. But we could still see some aggression. We've seen a little bit of Kha'Zix recently since the buffs on this patch. Also saw Nocturne Hover, which I think would also be good, especially if you're looking for a I want to dive the Aphelios champion. But it is going to be Kha'Zix here for Acadian, so a very volatile jungle matchup.
Ooh, okay, so level 6 is really where Kha'Zix starts to shine with the evolution of his Q, the claws. I think against Zoe, it could also be pretty cool, since Zoe's usually looking for plays by herself. At the very least, her ultimate does put her in harm's way, so there could be something there if Acadian's thinking about the Kha'Zix specifically against Zoe. And against Graves, there gets a point where Graves just can't 1v1 you. In fact, not a lot of champions are good at 1v1ing Kha'Zix. I think the only one that has some sort of consistency to him is Lee Sin, being able to build damage, and then you can just Q, reveal him, kick him, and then you can pretty much one-shot him. And it's going to be a poke comp there out of TSM with Jace and Zoe, but I think that the difficulty out of executing this poke comp is that you have somewhat of a mismatch there with the Graves and Aphelios. You only have a single peel target with Braum.
Yeah, you know, Treats may have moved on to the LCS at least for now, but his spirit remains strong in Academy, as Braum is picked up here by Biofrost. But certainly has a lot of tanking to do, and he's the support. So certainly a tough composition for TSM to play. I think Dig have a few more straightforward go buttons. Ooh, love me some Poppy. Gonna get it in there up against the Jace. This is a matchup we actually saw FLICKR play a lot of when Jace was in vogue. I believe he was the one to bust it out, I think 2 splits ago now. Like, it's been a while since we've seen Poppy. She seems to play every now and then, but when she's good, she's like really good. She's good in lane, super solid in team fights, just a very reliable frontliner.
I think she is pretty good here, right? You can stop a lot of Jace's movements. You're going to just make Winston's life a nightmare, especially if he continues to run Ignite and not Flash. So Lorlo can have a pretty good showing here, and it's what you want to see when you have a Kha'Zix anyways. More tanks, more CC, and you can actually get a fight that is so one-sided in Dignitas size. I mean, I'm thinking you get Tempered Fate on a few targets, Poppy ults a few other away, and then you got a single person isolated for Kha'Zix to just tear it a bit. So that is my dream of this composition. Might not happen, but it's what we can aspire to.
Also, I like Poppy's ult in looking at Galio as well, I think Galio often needs like one other person to help set him up. We've seen Camille, which was of course banned. We've seen Malphite sometimes, which was also banned. But like Poppy's ult got to change a long time ago now, where she can actually just knock up everyone around her with her ulti straight up in the air, which is probably enough time to set up for a Galio ult or a Galio taunt. So you used to have to like wind it up and knock people away, but you actually have like a mini CC option now as well. So I think there's a lot to like here about Dig's comp. We basically said that, the answer to Aphelios was apparently just diving the crap out of him. This is definitely a comp that can fulfill that dream.
That is one element that I forgot about, the one-tap Poppy ultimate.
Yeah, the
one tap. Up, right? it works for setting up your Q as well, and it can be cool with the Bard. And like you're saying, there's two ways of dealing with Aphelios. You can hard dive him, which is what Dignitas have chosen, or just never look at him, which is poke him. I think poking is harder to execute, but more oppressive for the Aphelios, whereas dive I think is easier to execute as a composition as a whole, but it definitely can flounder if you mess up and suddenly Aphelios has the right guns and just shreds everybody.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens because we've seen certainly a lot of Aphelios highlights throughout the split. We are going to step away to build game delay, but when we come back, we'll have the game right from the start. Welcome back. We chose Champ FLICKR building up that delay to preserve the competitive integrity, but TSM Academy versus Dignitas Academy is on the horizon, Crumbs, where Operation Kill the Aphelios on the Dig side is ready to go.
Okay, so it's an operation that many have attempted before. It doesn't always have a good success rate, but there's no other way to deal with it, so you have to address it, kind of getting dark there. But anyways, yes, that's what they're going to try to go for, trying to make sure that Lost has a terrible game. Although Lost has been pretty stellar this split in the Academy. He's not alongside his usual support, but like you mentioned, Pastry, the spirit of treats is there, and the
Oh,
Braum
yes.
remains, which is pretty funny to see because I would not have expected Bio to come from LCS to Academy and pick up the Braum.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe learning from someone that has had a lot of success, at least in this league, in Treat. So we'll see how Lost and Bio do, as they are still very new to playing with each other, but of course, very successful players in their own right. I think for me, that one of the more interesting stories for TSM Academy has actually been Dokla, because I feel like basically every game he ends up playing weak side, but he's either playing Ornn or Jace. It's like he's either playing a hard tank or he's playing Jace. And I guess maybe it's composition based, maybe it's if he feels like they want priority in top lane, but Dokla has been really solid for TSM Academy all season long. Again, with so much attention being poured to mid and bot, he's often left alone to kind of just hang out and, do whatever he wants to do. But he's been just really good all split long.
It's really interesting that you bring up those two champions as what he's playing despite playing weak side, because what ends up happening so many times is you give somebody a really strong laner like the Jace, and you could just leave him on weak side, even though you could take advantage if the laning strength is enough that he can be self-sustained. So that's why I think he finds himself with our resources, like whether he's Ornn or Jace, they just know he's on a champion that can be fine on his own, whether it's from having an inherent passive that keeps you keeping your items topped off and being able to be really tough to kill, or just that you're winning lane from being a lane bully. Dokla is the one-man island for Team Solo Mid, but many top laners will relate, and
oh yes,
since they're used to it at this point.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, Scrum. They're used to it. This TSM are going to go ahead and 5-man run down bottom lane. Some anti-Aphelios take, I guess. Everyone's just hanging out in the shrubbery.
Okay, so you've got Braum, pretty strong level 1, and every other champion is ranged, which is something that is cool with Braum for sure. Everybody can take advantage of that passive. They all want to auto attack, so there is a lot that the TSM comp can do. My only concern was you don't have a front line and you don't have a way of engaging, so you really do rely on Evolved hitting those bubbles, or when they dive you, that Bio can do a really good job at peeling, because you can see a world where Lorlo punts out Bio, and now you've got 4 squishies in the middle of Galio Kha'Zix.
Yep, definitely gets spooky if you can't kite effectively, or if Dig just find a really good angle of engage. JJ also setting up the mid lane here. This is the VIP treatment, Crumbs. Triple mugs of Coco in the mid lane.
No one gets that. Triple, double, we've seen double, but 3 cups of Coco right away. I mean, Evolved is not going to be thrilled about that one. He gets no cups of Coco.
And here's Electrocute as well, so he's definitely looking to get aggressive in this lane, or at least harass the Galio. We've seen Spellbook on lots of different mid laners, Zoe no exception. But this is definitely one where Evolved wants to be dominant here in this lane. And so far so good, pushing it up, but like we see with that Bard W putting down the shrines, it is really not a problem at all in the early levels here for Froggen.
That might actually hurt the Electrocute Zoe a little bit more than the Spellbook, just because there's going to be a smaller window of getting the Galio low HP and then killing him, just because it's going to have, I don't know, like 150, 200 extra health from those cups of coffee, of Coco. I like saying Coco, but I'm bad at saying it, so I feel like coffee is just easier for me, sadly.
I mean, I love coffee, so I'm totally down. And you know what? We can figure it out, Crumbs. Maybe it depends. Maybe it depends on the champion.
It's yerba mate. That's what they're drinking.
All right. Well, Evolved also with heal, so usually we see cleanse in these kind of matchups. So definitely some potential here if Kha'Zix wants to maybe find an angle, but right now in mid lane it's just going to be all Zoe all the time, especially with that Protobot picked up off of the balloon.
Oh! You missed it. Used all the spells and still missed the cannon. You hate to see it.
Oh no. So the mid lane is Tower just going down the drain.
Right. That's when those are the moments where if you were to document the beginnings of Tilt, you would always begin with the missed CS, especially the cannon.
Missed cannon at 3 minutes. Is Winston going to take the crab here on the left side? Trending towards the top half of the map. Funny how he set him up as the weak side player. We'll see if Winston does want to apply some pressure. Acadian on the bottom side as well here. You can see Asta and JJ getting a lot of use out of the double ranged into Braum plus Aphelios lane right now. Up about a wave as Loss is going to try and take out the CS. Gets the last one, I think. Maybe got 2.
It's really thoughtful from Acadian to end bot side, like you're saying, the double range. When you have range support, you almost always want to finish down there so that they can continue to harass without feeling pressured.
Yeah, again, just it's an obvious point of attack. Perhaps the jungler is covering. We know that Winston is in the top lane here, finishing off this Krog camp. He's actually going to take all of them and then go back. So just using Dokel's pressure for selfish reasons here. He's going to take a bunch of farm away. But Acadian checks the Krogs, now sees they're gone. Isn't going to waste time going to his other camp here. Just going to go ahead and take these Raptors. So, like you mentioned, Crumbs, certainly a lot better at 6 is the old Kazakhs. So we'll see which jungler can hit it first here. As I imagine, based on this early pathing, we'll see quite a bit of farming from these two.
I am really curious to know if the counter jungling that Winston just did is actually worth it, because that was the first rotation of camps from the Kazakhs, and he can just go straight. He's still going to be able to get the crabs that the camps that he wants with the Raptors, get a little bit of vision, and maybe go for a gank. So he could just wait this out and have an opportunity to go on to evolve. It should not be a kill, though.
Sleepy Kazakhs has a smite now as well. Does evolve. Ooh, JJ, what a roam. Evolve now going to have to heal him his way out of there, but Wimba's Cloak giving him more than enough moves to get out of there.
Just Wimba's Cloak?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's such a good one. I bet a Darius. Did you coin that, or did you hear a Darius say it?
Oh, it just felt so natural to me that I don't want to say I definitely doubt I was the first to think of it, but I did not hear it anywhere else.
You're the first. That's the first.
Point one.
You heard it here first, guys. Win
there
this
you go.
Cloak. Pastries original.
I might have tweeted it last week. I don't remember.
I'm using it. I'm using it.
Oh yeah. Please. It's a good one, as Lolo is busy farming up on the top side, keeping it close, 4 CS difference right now, so more than respectable given how much pressure Jace can apply in the early levels, but Poppy doing just fine there with the grasp in top lane. Early Dragon, though, for Dig. This is what you like to see with these aggressive junglers, that, 6-minute-ish Dragon, or just under in this case, but TSM on a reset, there's going to be a free Drake over to Dignitas.
I think that Dragon, I'm going to credit it, a lot of it, to the bot lane from Dig, because they were pressuring the bottom lane to the point where JJ was able to roam, guarantee that evolve that has to base, and from that base, then they can just say, okay, we've got pressure mid, bot lane's already capable of moving, and Acadian's route was to the bot side, so he makes sure that he gets that Dragon early, and so far it's looking good for them. You are falling behind in CS in your solo lanes. It is expected, but Kazakhs right now is one of the hardest carry junglers if he can have a good game. So I'm going to make sure that Dignitas gets some items before we start making any judgment calls on how they're going to play out.
Yeah, Buggen starting to build up levels as well, starting to push the lane a little bit faster. So now he's level 6, he certainly has more opportunity to roam around. Winston is currently checking mid lane as Evolved was pushing it, but is going to go back here. As we can see, Acadian's on the top half of the map, but level 6 first tier for the Grave, so has been farming awfully efficiently, which is always nice to see. But otherwise, it's been pretty quiet. TSM have a couple 100 gold in the lead, thanks to their solo lanes mostly, and I guess their jungler having a little bit of a farm lead, but other than that, it's all chill on the Rift right now.
Chill indeed, and it's going to be even chiller for Lorla, who, with the Tabis, pretty much gives him insurance that he's not going to get ganked by Winston. It's just so difficult to go into the double AD matchup against a Poppy that's already inherently tanky and is going to have those damage reduction on top of the movement speed, on top of her ultimate, and the potential of Galio joining to save him as well. So TSM's just going to be all about mid and bottom, and Doko's no stranger to that, so we're going to see him and see what he can do here. And usually, if I remember correctly, the matchups that you were bringing up, which were Lickerish into the Poppy, we'd see the split push focus give a Blade of the Ruined King a whirl.
Yeah, that's true, because you have to crack the tank, right? Because Poppy can just tank it forever. So certainly we could see more of that. I feel like Licorice was Poppy into Impacts Jace is the thing I'm remembering a lot from I think 2 or 3 splits ago, but we'll have to fact check that one later. For now, it's all chill there for Lolo. The Tabis into double AD feels like a nice comfy pair of slippers. Just put them on and everything feels great. So no worries there for Poppy in Toppy as Asta getting things happening here with the plates. Actually pretty significantly ahead in farm. This Bard has been working in this matchup alongside the Ezreal here. You know, this is a tier and a call. Like, this is a very, like, non-threatening Ezreal build. And just the natural advantage it feels like they have led to, you know, 10 CS lead almost.
Yeah, double range into the Braum. Feels bad. There's a TP on Bio, though, so they could join. They don't. They just back it off. And I think because Ezreal is so popular right now and has such a high win rate, or at least seems to have such a high win rate, or at least a high relevance rate, people get kind of tunneled onto him. They kind of expect, okay, this champion, it's Ezreal again. He does what he does. Like, just forget about it. Like, we'll deal with what we've got, which is an Nephalia. So they're not used to being able to beat an Ezreal. It's such a safe matchup into pretty much everything. So I think we're going to start to see Ezreal just having a stronger time until he gets nerfed, because removing, what was it, 2 seconds from the Arcane Shift, I haven't even heard a single person say that was a nerf. It is technically a nerf, but...
Yes, it is. He is objectively worse at Eing.
Right, objectively worse. Yet in practice, I don't think a single player took that into the calculations.
Yeah, it doesn't seem all of that bad at the end of the day. Actually, one of the reasons I've been enjoying watching Wind play in Academy, like he's whipping out Legion, he's whipping out Caitlyn, you know. These are champions I think that can function pretty well into easy. Sadly, I think my favorite classic Ezreal counter Vayne not going to be picked because all the range supports are so good that I think Vayne just cannot function in a 2v2. But you never know. I think if Ezreal does remain in the state he's in, I imagine players will start to maybe stretch out and see if they can find ways to get advantages. Oh, you know what? They'll just play, you know, other champs that want to farm. And we'll just see bot lane relegated to the age-old farm and away fest as Man Immunity has been finished for Asta.
I would love to see Vayne. And
Vayne's a good one.
The difficulty for her is that no AD wants to spend that much time playing Vayne and then tell their team, all right, lock me in Vayne. The second someone says that, you're sweating, you're like, oh no, I don't know if he's ready. Like, how good is he really at this champion? Are we going to give everything for him? And if he doesn't, can he deliver?
Ooh, first blood on the table, but for who? TP top lane as well. Don't get out of there. KD flashes in, needs one more Q. It's first blood there, second blood. And who's going to get the backup kill? Biofrost is not going to do it. And it's Acadian that grabs the first.
Such a close call there for Acadian. I thought that Dokla was going to flash into the brush and just hammer him away, but instead they just trade a 1-for-1. But TSM ends up getting a dragon at the end of the day, so I think they're happy with this one. So giving a kill over to the Kazakhs. Oh,
you know that call the ambulance meme?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like that top lane situation was. You know, it's called the ambulance, but not but not for me. Except that it actually was. It was for Doku at the end of the day. Acadian just managing to sneak away with the first blood. As we'll watch this one again.
Oh, that's a good meme. That brought a smile to my face. Okay, how does it play out? So he jumps right away. He's in stealth.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Interesting. So he's Ultivolt.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Like that's why it lasted so long. I couldn't tell because he had the Herald in his claws, so it was hard to see the range of his claws.
All right. Show us Kazakhs. We'll check out the visuals.
I think you're right though. That was a long time where he stealthed.
Maybe not. I haven't played Kazakhs in so long.
Q is, I think, a ton better.
Yeah, I feel like it must be Q.
Oh, it is.
He's got to use
it.
Okay. You're right. The Herald is obscuring his hands. No, they're too purple and glowy.
No, I think it is R, because he's browner. I think that's what happens in the skin. He changes.
Okay.
Like the skin changes color. I'm pretty sure. I haven't played this skin in a while. This is Guardian of the Sands.
Yes, someone will report to us, I'm sure. But we'll have to brush up on our Kazakh's visual knowledge. He has a lot of skins too, so that's going to take a while. It's mid lane here. Riftshard's going to get dropped. Perhaps that will help us with our visual clarity issues, but definitely going to help if they can crack this mid tower. Drowsy Galio is going to get out of there. JJ's going to say, I'm not going to block it, no need. And that's almost enough to take down the tower. Has about 75% of that last plate left. So needs a little bit more to get it down fully, but always good to take the mid tower early on. Evolve though, busy clearing the wave, so the rest of the team's going to swoop in to make sure it stays safe. And we'll go back to our usual farming here.
Back to the regular scheduled programming until Asta is getting ganked. He doesn't suspect anything. There's a Bard ready to assist him. They're waiting for a loss.
Ooh,
I think
good guns as well. Yeah. Flash Exhaust, going to get Concussive Blown, stunned up, and that's an easy kill. Not even going to give it to the Aphelios. It's Winston that takes it on the end of the line.
Sad for loss there, not able to take the kill. They were trying to be generous. They really tried. It was the end of the line that took him out. And also, I feel confident in saying it was ulti evolved, although producers did confirm with us.
Nice.
I said it at the same time, so I'm going to say that it counts.
It definitely counts there, as bottom lane out actually might be taken down here. First tower still on the table. Tower plating is off, but that bonus gold always up for grabs. As shout outs to production for filling us in. So yeah, I mean, those are the two evolves, right, for Kha'Zix, Claws or ulti. But I think definitely a lot of flexibility there. Gone are the days where wings have been the preferred early evolution.
Oh, those were the days, the leap. I think right now, though, with the Q buff, I'm seeing a ton more Q first, and then the spikes second, and then maybe they go the ultimate, because ult is really nice to be able to outplay individuals. Like, you don't actually need the claws to win those 1v1 since the damage it was already really high, but it does increase your gank potential with the stealth just being so obnoxious to deal with.
Might be a solo queue Kha'Zix versus, you know, pro play Kha'Zix thing as well, where in solo queue, like, you get so much value just fighting people, but maybe you need a little bit more utility. Who knows? Perhaps we'll ask Acadian at some point later. Good bubble there from Evolve, but Froggen going to cleanse out of there. Did have that one swapped over from the spellbook, I believe. Actually, don't know what his original summon spell is, because he's got Ignite now, and I doubt that's what he's rocking. I thought he had TP as his base spell, but had a cleanse regardless. Gets out of there. Biofrost shoots himself over the wall as there was incoming Bard aggression.
And outgoing is Bard. Aggression in, Bard out. And he's going to reset, and I think he's got money for the Shurelius already, so maybe there's going to be a little bit more playmaking. The gold is dead even. He doesn't actually have the gold for it. He's just going for control wars like a good support, making sure he's got vision for the team. 25 seconds before the dragon, so they need to make sure that they're in here. Asta will base, so this might be a time for him to go for a TP, unless both teams aren't ready for the dragon, in which case, nothing really happens until they all get back.
Yeah. He's going to start walking now, but if he needs to TP, he will. If you're ever wondering where the AD is TPing, just look for the silliest looking TP possible. They always just TP to like random places because they're just trying to get back out on the map, right? There's no big strategic value to the cooldown. But it looks like he's going to be dragging over to TSM. Dive in the top lane. This is kind of a cool one. See you later, Turret. Hello, Galio. See you later, Dokla. As Acadian's going to get in there with the calls, and Lolo's going to finish off the kill.
Jeez, 4 people to take out Dokla there. Poor man. But there's still hope for TSM. They got that the dragon, so now they're scaling on that one. They're going to lose the Herald, but if TSM can protect this turret, I think if Galio bases, Dokla might be able to TP and save this, so it might not be so bad for TSM.
Cannon is now dead, as it's fine for Lolo in the top lane. Acadian is also left because he wants to take the second Rift Herald, so now they can absolutely finish off the top tier 3 if they need to.
Okay.
So Acadian's trending that way.
So he can't TP to that with the Herald being taken. He could just pop it behind him and he'd die again.
Yep. So Lolo actually going to finish off the tower anyway, has the wave, so we'll see if they push through and look for the tier 2. But TSM happy to take the second Drake. I think Dig also were just like, well, we do need, you know, some towers. We want a little bit of map pressure. They got the Herald out of the play as well. I think after you split Drakes, it's fine to give the second one away. So I think Dig just making like a calculated trade. They're not wanting to engage around the Dragon Pit.
And they're going to be feeling really good with these items on Asta, though. The Mirror Mana should be coming in pretty soon. The Frozen Fist spike is, yeah, look at that. You just got it right now.
Hey.
That spike is just so nasty. It is the one that upsets me the most about Ezreal. You buy a Glacial, and suddenly you're dealing more damage than the Aphelios with the IE. Like, come on. And it's going to be good against Jace and Graves as well. So he's getting triple dips out of the itemization here, and it's just going to feel so good to know that you can tank, and you can get engaged upon, and still be safe.
Yeah, definitely a good game for Ezreal in general.
I think every Ezreal game is a good game for Ed.
That's also fair. Looks like pressure on the mid lane. No, I like DIGA returning to the mid lane to try and finish off this tower. There are reinforcements though on the TSM side. Evolve busy paddling away the waves, and they're just going to leave and go towards the top half of the map. Now, IE is also done for Lost, as I believe you mentioned earlier, Crumbs. So perhaps TSM are looking for some sort of 5v5, but we've seen very few Galio ults, very few Zoe roams. Like, teams really have been confined to their lanes. Dig currently ahead, as they are going to knock down this mid outer as well. That Rift Child's going to make sure of it.
It is rare to see that, because it actually is the least efficient when it comes to making consecutive plays, since they're opposite sides of the map. You'd usually think, oh, you play to mid and top, you play to mid and bottom. It's so much easier to work between those lanes. But if you do both side lanes, then it takes so much longer to send those resources from one side to the other. So I think that that is another reason why the game has slowed down so much. Both teams kind of ignoring the mid lane.
Yeah, this has also been a function of like TSM Academy's games, and I think it's been true all year, where they are very happy just to take safe early games and then roll you over in the mid to late game. Like, this is a team that very much feels like it's had the like just play to your win conditions and like play safe mentality kind of drilled into them. And I think they have certainly shown, especially when they feel like they can outclass their opponents, that they can play quite a bit faster. And they're very good at team fighting as well. But I think also with adding Bio in, like, you just want to kind of play a very like stable brand of League of Legends, and this kind of style definitely speaks to that. I mean, granted, they're down 2,000 gold in early games, so it's not like they haven't. It's been smooth, all things considered, but I think given how good TSM have been this split and the general style they've shown, they're fine with the game being at this point. They just don't want it to get any further out of hand. And if you're Dignitas, that's absolutely your plan, is to try and take this lead and grow it as far as you possibly can, given the advantage you've currently built.
If they can grow it to a win in this Dragon, they're going to feel really good about this one, because they should know they have an advantage here. If it not for the fact that the Poppy is beating the Jace, and that the Ezreal had farmed up and's got his items, the fact that you've got more turrets than TSM. So they're feeling good, although I think your point about Bio is really relevant, since the game they beat 100 Thieves on, they looked like they weren't doing anything until the mid game, where Bio just landed a few key Bard ultimates and suddenly it was game over. So they're very much about just finding that one fight that they need, and then bam, just winning the game from there. This is the moment where they're grouping. Dokla is here looking for some poke, and this is the fight they wanna just hold their ground. I'm looking for Evolved. I want to see what this Zoe can do, because he's done it before, where he can just carry games 1v5 in Dragon fights. Yeah,
he's also like the #1 assassin of this Ezreal, right? Because of how much armor Asta has currently with the gauntlet. So, if anyone's going to be able to kill the Ezreal, it probably is just going to have to be the Zoe. So both teams are going to fight for mid prio. TSM don't have a mid outer. That's a really nice Bardock. Good dodger with a portal jump, and they're out of there. As there's the Drowsy onto the Galio. Froggen tries to get in, but has to get out immediately. And TSM do a very good job disengaging.
That was a
that was
really
spicy.
nice portal there out of Evolve. Just popping in and out. Oh, he's fine.
Evolve is popping off. He's picking up summoners off the floor. He's paddling people. Lolo's going to have to flash out of there. He's got an Ignite that he found on the ground. Two-Shot Barrage. He's going to be blocked by Bifrost. And TSM, most importantly, Crumbs, are going to look to take this Dragon away. But Acadian's coming in for the steal. Here's Froggen. He's TP'd back in. Lost is locked up. Acadian, he's stolen it! And Lost is dead as well. It's an absolute tragedy in the pit for TSM Academy, as Galio ultis, as Asta's going to take out Winston, and everything looked so good and then went so wrong.
It's going to be Baron too. You've got a Kha'Zix that can mow this down. It really was so close to be a fat win for TSM, and now if Dig secures this Baron, it is going to be so rough for them, because you don't even have a threat of a steal. Your wave clear isn't even all that great. If Zoe has to spend her mana and spells on wave clear duty, you can forget about picking off the Ezreal.
This is the Froggen Galio I remember, though. Just like constantly chaining torts together, finding engages. Dokla's the only one here right now. Zoe coming in, though, to potentially ward off this Baron. They're going to have to get poking ASAP. The Baron is alive, though. It gets smited away by Acadian, and that's Dig getting out of there. No one even dies. Perhaps the Kha'Zix. No, there's the Blast Cone. Evolve can't even follow up there, as Froggen is busy running interference. And Dignitas go from, a couple thousand gold up to 4,000 gold in the Baron off of this play here.
Okay, so TSM starts this. It looks like the only vision that they have is the Scryers that just got popped, and they know that Galio is there, just ready to go. Let's see how Acadian does this, though. Flash, steal. They didn't even see him coming. They had no vision, no way of knowing. It would have just have been Winston getting a picture-perfect smite right there. Didn't do it, and also, this is Kha'Zix that has W evolved, so he just does not care about the Q value, and it's fine because the damage is still amazing, and the W is really good at making sure that these squishy targets have a hard time getting into the fight.
Yeah, TSM going to have to weather quite the storm for the next 2 minutes here at least with this Baron, but again, just talking about Froggen and how different this team looks. It's not that Froggen himself looks like better or worse. We'll hold that thought. Tempered fake and a Mistoko, but he's going to juke back into Lolo. Still gets slapped by JJ, and Lolo wraps it up with the kill.
Oh, that is a big kill to take right now. Jace is supposed to combo with Zoe if they want to get somebody to pick off, and against these many tanks, you really need that much damage. Froggen's coming in for a flank. Find Zoe!
Yeah, I mean, just taunting everyone. Now the front line is not safe by the tankiest one on the team, but not all that tanky. True Shot Barrage clips him. Ulti out of Lost is going to be CC'd by Froggen, who absorbs a lot there with that stopwatch. It's actually an Hourglass, excuse me. He's already got the upgrade. The DIGA just unrelenting in this push.
Yeah, they can stick around here. They're going to just rotate over, trying to maximize that gold, which they're slowly building the gold lead already at 5,000. If they can crack that tier 2, they'll just put themselves further ahead. And they know that TSM just does not have a way of engaging. Braum no longer can stand in front of the Dig squad and stay alive or even relevant beyond his shield duration. And that is so oppressive to deal with, because what is Graves supposed to do? Right, well, what is Ophelia supposed to do? He's got a lot of tanks just going into his face, and he can't kill them as quickly as Dignitas can take down his team because his own team doesn't have tanks.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of looking at the issue that we highlighted in the draft crumbs, where it's like TSM's comp, really good at poking, lots of good threats, good one ahead, and really challenging to play when you're getting engaged on, which is what we identified as the thing Dignitas wanted to do. So I think we're at that point now where 5,000 gold down, the Baron wearing off, the objectives respawning, that like TSM have to think, how do we actually get ourselves back into this game? Because playing the straight poke game when Dig have been so conscious and willing to engage on you with the Bard, with the Galio, with whatever they have, just makes the game plan you're trying to play so difficult right now.
Their game plan gets even tougher when you realize that the highest damage member is just as tanky as the other Beast Boys that you're trying to deal with. Ezreal is not going to succumb to the poke that Jace and Zoe can pump out. So who are you actually going to engage on? You have to maybe go on Acadian. Right? He's the squishiest one, but even then, he's got the stealth to move around. He's got Galio to back him up, and if anything goes sideways for Dignitas, you can always count on the Tempered Fate or Poppy to bail you out. So they're feeling so confident. They just need to stay grouped up, not give anything to TSM. And it looks like they're foregoing the position for this third Mountain Dragon and just trying to cash in on the tier 2s that they could take. It's going to be rough, though. Without that Baron, they just quickly say, you know what, how about we just play it safe and go for the objective.
I like using the Magical Journey, though, to quickly get over to the objective. We'll see if TSM do want to challenge here for this Drake. It's not the soul for either team, but it would put whoever gets it on soul point. So there is definitely some value into grabbing it, but I think TSM probably going to be thinking that we cannot contest for this particular objective. So they'll keep farming up and probably have to play for this next Baron and then the Soul Drake that comes up after it. Winston deep in enemy territory right now, but doesn't spot anything worth taking. Is protecting Lost as well, who's trying his best to farm whatever he can. He is going to safely farm this wave in the top lane, but likely cannot stick around for any more, as it is going to get trimmed a little by the Ezreal True Shot Barrage. And JJ, if he spots him here, could lock him up and maybe wait for his teammates, but it does seem like Lost is going to get out safely.
Would have been amazing if he took a portal over to that side and started brawling against the Ophelia. So it's what you want to see. If maybe he had gone with the Chad Bard build, Dead Man's Plate, Rapid
RFC,
Fire Cannon,
Ludens, Lichbane, yeah. There's definitely some Bard builds out there. Stoker's going to be forced to flash Froggen's initiation. Lolo charging into the bottom lane, but it's where he probably wants to be anyway. And it is kind of cool to see Galio not just come back into the meta, but like players adapt to the changes. Like Galio was pretty significantly changed in like how he operates as a champion. He was basically like an initiating tank before in the mid lane that could just clear waves, and he could flash on people really easily, and then we took the flash taunt power away. I think my favorite thing to watch is see how Galio's adapt to needing to engage without being able to use flash, which for so many champions is the primary way they use their engage tools, right? So and I think my favorite one is Home Guard. Like, watching that fight again where Froggen zooms in, wrap around the dragon, they get that first kill, I'm like, that's better than Nimbus Cloak. It's a lot harder to use, but that one's better.
So true. Such a specific thing to engage on as well, because when that got removed, I was on the same camp. I'm not thinking, okay, I'm never playing Galio again. This is pointless for me to engage this way. And I think a big part of it was not realizing how quickly the area around the taunt grows. Because if you're thinking, oh, it's so slow and I'm never going to be able to catch anybody, but there is a lot of ways to combat that, whether it's the GLP, the Nimbus Cloak with the Spellbook, or the Home Guards like you're saying. And I think what really brought him over the edge to return back to play was that AP shield to his ultimate. Now, I think he's kind of OP. I personally would put him in the OP camp. I've been thinking that he should get nerfed because teams that play well with him make a gameplay against him or anybody else on your team completely oppressed. Because you never go for any play since Galio's going to be always there to counter it. But it has fallen off a little bit. Only some teams are still playing him. And maybe when international play rolls around, we'll get to see what goes down with Galio. Baron attempt, and TSM is ready to fight. Winston looking for a steal from the side.
Oh, Evolve, good flash. Good Tempered Fate, though, again from JJ. So disruptive on this Bard. Joker has TP'd in. The poke is decent. This is actually a situation where TSM's comp is pretty good. Poking the enemy off the Baron, but Dig know that, so they're just going to back off there. They also got some decent poke on the other side, so they're just going to get Dig off the objective and then go back if they want. There's still this mid tower up. It's past 30 minutes and the mid outer is up. That is rough stuff for TSM. It is so challenging to do anything on the map when you can't go through the easiest access point.
They're bottlenecked entirely. The poke composition does not have many angles when Dignitas is always capable of just retreating right to the halfway point of the map and be in no danger whatsoever. Now, with a minute 30 on this Drake, it's going to be Soul for Dig with a composition that is going to benefit tremendously from this. So TSM needs to get their itemizations done. You've got QSS, you've got the Lord Dominic's already. So Aphelios is strong, but is he really enough? I think you need the rest of the team to also step up. I don't know what weapons Lost has thus far, so that'll definitely come into play.
I feel like it's not an issue of like, is there enough damage? There definitely is. It's like, how do our damage dealers live? When like between Bard, Galio, Poppy, and then Ezreal and Kha'Zix jumping on people or poking them. So we'll see what TSM have here. There is a dragon up in 50 seconds that TSM are basically forced to challenge, given that it is the Soul Dragon for Dig. Right now they've got good foothold in the area, but Lolo is busy creating space in the bottom lane, getting that wave pushing towards that inhibitor tower, so not a lot of time for TSM to set up, and Lost is going to have to go and catch this wave.
Okay, so level 16, it has level 3 T-pose, so pretty good stuff out of it. Oh, okay, that's good poke. That's really what TSM needs, especially on the Cadian. That is the weakest target, but JJ can definitely save his health and kind of nullify what that was all about. You still have a redemption available on Dignitas' side that actually could prove to be a really big spell. Cadian's going to go to the Gromp to life steal a bit, and yeah, he's back. He's back to full.
One of the small things I really like about Sleep as a mechanic is that, and that people I think forget, is that it doesn't have to be the champion that applied it to deal the extra damage. Anyone can tap the Drowsy champion to do the damage. There's Lolo slamming into the wall. Dignitas getting it going early. Bifrost is already dead. The front line is gone. Dokud's going to die as well. It's Dignitas all the way. Has Lost is shooting everyone he can, but he just doesn't have it.
Oh, losing Braum this early sucks. You are not going to be able to push up anymore. 2 members down. Definitely Dignitas' Dragon Soul. Now, Winston could attempt to steal, but if he dies here, you're also giving up Baron. I don't think it's worth it. It is just a great look for Lorlo to get Braum. He had both subs, had ultimate, just died in the stun.
Yeah, that's a moment where, if I'm evolved, I'm like desperately popping balloons in the wave trying to find a smite. But doesn't come out. No chance for a steal, really. I mean, Winter doesn't have flash, so we can't even easily get over into the pit. And it is the Mountain Soul for Dignitas as a result. 5,000 gold ahead. They've got the Soul. They're going to look to take this next Baron. Dignitas just looking completely in control of this game.
Look at how many bars Lorelo has in his... Oh, he's dead.
Oh, everyone jumping in there. The Tempered Fate was a bait. It is the shutdown on Evolve Zoe as Dignitas take yet another pick.
Lorelo's health looks like a freaking barcode there. You could scan it, just check out at the grocery store. You get everything you need there from him. And this one is just so brutal with the tanks from Dignitas now. You see that Bio doesn't hold a candle. I think this might have actually been a game where he needed to go Stone Plate just to do some sort of living here because no one else can do much. Lorelo comes in zooming once again.
Turns off Firefrost jumping in there as well, I think. Yeah, he's trying to stand behind Winston. But he's just running defense. He TP's in, keeps everybody out with the Poppycopter, and it's second Baron now for Dignitas. They're going to look to close out this game.
Pretty good showing out of them. I like what they've done with the draft. Once again, playing to their strengths. And I think it was cool that we highlighted Froggen in wins and losses because I think a big part of it is the champions. Big criticism for Froggen has always been, why is the champion pool so different than all the meta picks? This is a highly meta pick, and look at the success he's finding on it. So I think that if they can continue to place him on champions that can be comfortable for him and still be in a really strong position when it comes to mid lane picks at the moment, you're going to see a much better Dignitas. And this is definitely a good start for them because Galio is the go-to for a team like Cloud9, which is nothing to scoff at because of how dominant they've been.
Yeah, I think, again, it just speaks to what we were talking about, where we wanted Dig just to, play a bit more like a five-man unit. And they are this game. They're playing extremely well coordinated. This draft feels really cohesive. And, yeah, it's not as exciting for Froggen, who also deserves credit for those unique picks working out. Like, he was basically solely responsible for how good Veigar was a few splits ago, if you remember Niski tearing people up on that champion. As far as we know, Froggen was the one destroying people in scrims with that pick. So, having a unique champion pool certainly can work out for you, but sometimes you just need to play the boring champs to win the game for your team. And that's kind of what picking Galio and Twisted Fate feels like right now in mid lane. They might not be that exciting. I know I've talked to Devontae, he's like, I want to play Assassins, but my team won't let me because we have to play the champs that win. But at the end of the day, in a competitive environment, you are trying to get, the highest percentage chance possible to take the game. And for Dig, they've done everything right against TSM Academy to look like they're going to be taking this one. It is very challenging for TSM to stop this Baron push as Dignitas take out the bottom inhibitor.
Okay, now moving into tier 2. Oh, Dope.
Oh, no.
Okay, he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's alive, we'll call it. But he's got no flash. TSM are getting their base just caved in by Froggen's taunting everyone. Acadian wants to get in there with the edge of that. Tempered Fate lines up 2. Here comes Froggen, baby. Oh, no taunt. It's on cooldown as Acadian's wrapping around. There's Lolo slamming in there. See you later, Ophelio. Winston's going to go down as Dig's going to take that one off their hands. Dokler's dead almost to the Galio pick. Lolo's going to make sure it's a finisher. And it's only Evolved left in the fountain to watch the Nexus die.
The playoff race is getting tight, Pastry. Dignitas is actually proven to be a top dog here by beating TSM.
Yeah, I mean, the record's not looking good. It's going to be a struggle, but taking down TSM, no mean feat. Evolved is going to be taunted for the ace as Dignitas will finish off all 5 from TSM Academy and the Nexus.
Great emote at the end, too. Top hat and the mad logo. So, trying to make sure that TSM is thanked for the dub, and thanked they are.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's night and day, the Dig 15 wins versus losses. And it isn't just Froggen, right, that's having different performances. It's the team looking so different. And again, when Acadian is playing aggressive, when he's got, the types of mid lane picks that are very in vogue right now to support that playstyle, when everything's firing, Dig look like a top team in Academy. And TSM starting to struggle, Crumbs. I think it's enough losses now that it's not just an accident that they're picking up, some sloppy losses here and there. It does feel like the tide's potentially starting to turn.
Yeah, I think the loss of treats definitely is hurting the team. Whether Bio or Treats is better, just losing a player that has been so pivotal for your team late into the split is going to hurt. And I think that's what we're seeing here, where they're trying to figure out what do we do with our bottom lane, right? They fell behind early. They're having a great time. The picks in draft might have been better for what the team was better at. And then Treats is a huge shot caller, right? Treats is really all about what are we doing? What's going on here? What's happening there? We haven't really heard that much from Biofrost lately. I'm not sure where he's standing in the shot calling department, but all I know is one got put into the LCS and another one got taken from LCS into Academy. So
Yeah.
I think the Treats factor is hurting TSM now.
Certainly so, and TSM are going to take the loss there. We are taking a break, but on the other side, we'll be back for today's last match. It's FlyQuest Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy. Don't go too far away.